Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's start our video with a beautiful story. If only the world had more people like OP's manager. After a short pause, we'll tell you why. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. About my store manager. So let me first off explaining how my store manager looks to most people like he's 6'3", so he's tall, and it seems very intimidating. But different from his looks, he's actually a very nice guy, and this was how I learned what kind of guy he was. I had only been working for about 7 months at the store, and this woman walked in with 2 little kids. One was about 2 years, the other was 5 years old. The mother looked scared. Her hair was a mess, and it looked like she'd had no sleep in days. She looked rough. Well, she walks up to me and asks to see the store manager, so I call for him. I was working checkout that day, so it was pretty slow compared to others, so I had breathers between the customers, and I overheard the woman talking to him. She escaped her husband, who was abusive, and lived in the neighboring town. She'd gotten an apartment with the help of a friend of hers, but she had nothing to eat, and she asked him for help. The store manager told her to go fill a buggy with food and to come to my line when she was done, and told her to get herself and her children some hot food from the deli also. So she left. And about half an hour later, she came to my line. I called him back, he showed up, told me to ring it up like normal, then he pulled out his wallet and paid for the woman's cart. Then he asked me to come to his office and asked her to wait there. He said he wanted me to help take things to her car and to give her a paper he was writing on. So he handed me the paper and I walked her to her car, then handed her the paper he had given me to hand her. She started crying and I asked her if she was okay. She handed me the paper. It basically was a note telling her that he was sorry for her position, and if she needed a job to help her get by, that she could show up in a couple of days, and told her if she needed childcare, he had his number on there to call him, and he would help her set it up. Needless to say, she showed up, and she was a very nice person who still works at our store. This is one of the many reasons why I love the store I work at, and I believe I have the best store manager in the world. And our second story. A woman wanted a Great Dane puppy for free because God wanted me to give it to her. My wife and I bred our Great Danes and had puppies that we posted for sale. We wanted to keep them local, so we did post ads on Craigslist, despite that being against their terms. Brought out more than a few crazies that were subsequently weeded out via the price, $1,000. One particular crazy lady stands above the rest. We spoke for probably an hour because her begging was kind of entertaining. Here's the summary of it. She calls me and asks what the price is, and I inform her that it's $1,000 total with a $200 non-refundable deposit to reserve one until they're 8 weeks, then $800 upon pickup. She replies that she can't afford the $200 and would like for me to hold one for her anyways, as well as coming down on the total price. After I ask what she expected me to come down to, she replies, "Money is too tight for me to pay for one, but it would make my kids so happy, and I know that you're a good man of God that wouldn't want to keep my kids from happiness." I reply, "So here's the problem. My cost per puppy between vet bills, formula, puppy food, and pee pads is around $300 to $400 per puppy. That's before factoring in that feeding and cleaning up after 15 puppies is extremely demanding of my time right now. Also, I'm an atheist." Her. "Okay. I'll pray for you that God finds a way into your life, and in exchange for the happiness he gives you, you can give my kids happiness with a puppy." Me. "That's not going to work. Also, why would I give you a puppy that you can't afford to take care of? I go through like 150 pounds of dog food per month with my Danes." Her. "That won't be a problem. I have enough to take care of them. God will provide for us." Me. "I'm still going to need you to pay for it? I even have a way for you to let God provide you with a puppy and me with money. Start a GoFundMe. You have 4 weeks to raise $1,000. I knew this wasn't going to happen, but it placated her. She calls me 4 weeks later. Her. "I was wanting to know if God had worked through you yet and if I could have a puppy." Me. "Did you raise the funds on GoFundMe or manage to save up for it?" Her. No, but I was hoping I could have one for free. Me. Sorry, but if you couldn't raise anything on GoFundMe, then it seems God doesn't want you to have one. Click. What a crappy person trying to use God to try and guilt you. I bet she's the type that always uses religion as a way to be a freeloader in life. Love the closing remark. And our next story. District manager wanted us to treat customers like our best friend. Okay. Retail time. Those were the days. I worked in the number 3 office supply chain in the country. Small flex, as there were only 3 office supply chains at the time. Well, I had one of those district managers that went to district manager school and did all the district manager things. You know, sending emails with random words in bold, different fonts, colors. His emails read like William Shatner having a stroke. The dude was a company man. Read over-enthusiastic. Corporate had released a new policy about how we should set the standard for customer interaction. Don't just say hi or welcome to when a customer walks in, but treat them like you're happy they're there. Express interest in them on a unique level. If they're wearing a sports team hat and you know the team, say, hey, great game last night, right? The general idea was to personalize the experience. Don't just sound like an NPC in a video game saying the same lines again and again to everyone. Well, the district manager guy, living close to our store, popped in the day of the store meeting where all this was announced and decided to encourage us and lead by example. That's actually pretty cool of a DM to do, but he also had a history of throwing tantrums, and we were like the bad news bears of the district, so it was more treating us like little kids. It felt more condescending than anything. Mr. District Manager interpreted the new policy to be talk to the customer like they're your best friend. We role-played, and he would berate employee after employee to get it right. Role-playing in retail is always awkward, and this isn't a theater troupe. They aren't trained actors. The majority of the staff is first-time job high school kids and part-time college kids. I was the latter. Our performances were not Hollywood. He wanted Hollywood, and me? I'm a sarcastic clown who loves having a little fun. The kind of guy that practices making ridiculous faces in the mirror so I can try them out on unsuspecting friends later. I love an audience. Don't give me an excuse to be ridiculous. So the store opens at 8 a.m. Customers start coming in, and Mr. District Manager is still there, watching our performances and rating us, but not being as loudly snide in front of the customers. Finally, it's my turn, and he's once again repeating out loud, remember, you need to treat the customer like you would treat your best friend walking into your house. I recognize the customer who walked in, an old guy in his 60s. We gave him the nickname Reno, and I know he heard every word Mr. District Manager said. Reno's one of our favorite customers. You're about to understand why. Reno walks right up to me, and I say, hey, dude, what's up? Reno says, you know, man, same crap, different day, right? I say, tell me about it. My district manager's been a real pain in the butt lately with some dumb new idea that's probably going to blow up in his face. Reno laughs. Sounds about right. Hey, I need to get some folders for a presentation for the condo association. Know where those are? I say, back of the store. Find them yourself, dude. I'm not your servant. Reno says, fair enough. Think your manager buddy has figured out how stupid this is yet? I say, I don't know, man. He's not that bright. Reno laughs loud as he's prone to and takes a step to my district manager, gives him a big slap on the arm, the kind that ends with his hand gripping the arm up high by the shoulder, stares him in the eyes, gives his shoulder a small shake. I think he'll figure it out. He doesn't want to make the store's best customer angry. And Reno walks off. Mr. District Manager is beet red angry. If he were a cartoon, there'd be steam. He breathes and practically hisses through clenched teeth, asking just what the hell I was trying to pull. I do my best, Joey from Friends. What? You said treat him like my best friend, and Reno practically lives here. I got written up again that day. Hashtag worth it. So many times I should have been fired from that job. Also, this was like 2004, so obviously I didn't get the word-for-word banter perfectly memorized, but that's the kind of guy Reno was. And that's the kind of employee I was. And that's the setup we were given. "Man, I got so much stuff lying around here, just grab what you need. Just bring over a case of beer next time you visit and we're good." That's how you treat your friends, right? And our last story. "My dad owns this place. You can't ban me from here." So this happened the summer after my sophomore year of college. Of all the businesses that my father owns, the only one that I've ever gotten free service from is the drive-up coffee shop. I've always been allowed to stroll on in and pour myself a drip coffee whenever I want. If I wanted something fancy, I'd have to pay, but I rarely, if ever, did this. Well, shortly after coming back to my hometown, I stopped by to grab a cup. As usual, I walk through the door in the back to bypass the line and serve myself. The second I walk in, I hear, "What are you doing? You can't be in here. Get out." The girl working was not here the last time I'd visited at the end of last summer, and I realized that it must be pretty shocking to have some random guy walk into the small shack you work in. I try to explain that my father owns the shop, and I was just coming in to grab a cup of coffee before I was on my way. She was flustered and just kept telling me to get out. So I went to my car, pulled around in line, and waited my turn. When I got to the window, she saw me and was PO'd, telling me that she was not going to serve me. I again took the chance to explain that my father owned the shop and that I'm sorry I startled her. She told me that she knows Pastor Father because she goes to his church and she knows his son, and that was not me. I did not go to my father's church anymore and had not met her, but my brother did. She told me she'd call the cops if I didn't leave and that I was not welcome at the shop ever again. So I drove off, called my dad, and asked if he'd want to meet for a cup of coffee soon, and he agreed. The look on her face when I showed up with my dad at the walk-up counter and he introduced the two of us was fantastic. I hadn't told my dad what had happened an hour ago, but I explained then, and he thought it was the funniest thing. I didn't have any issues after that, but made sure to come to the window if there was someone working who I didn't recognize in the future to avoid such a situation. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.